big boxes, so we should be good for a year. Yeah, it's a flamethrower. All right, we light candles together. Shalom. You did fine. Too much birthday partying.
I went to one before this.
She's the birthday girl on Mother's Day.
I've been partying.
She's been partying for a while. Can you tell? All right, well, we'll do what we can do. Wow, this is, wait a minute. What, the lights? That's fine. I forgot them the other day. 1 minute. Let me check this. Oh, because I came up to check stuff, so I didn't bring up the candles. And then I walked down here and turned the light on, but I didn't open the ark. I figured it'll get done. Okay, look where you guys are. I can't really go any farther because then no one will see me. All right, well, as we always say, whether we have a minion or not, we're going to let God know we're here, or let ourselves know we're here. So page, and I hear a car, I hear at the door, so somebody's probably walking in. Page 5, you will find Shalom Aleichem, as we'll make up for a little bit of time, as it's 10 after, page 5. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech malachei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu boachem leshalom malachei hashalom malachei elyon mi melech malachei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu Baruch hu nile shalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon. Mi melech malachei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Tzeitchem leshalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon. Mi melech malachei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. We turn to page 11. Lechu niranin al Adonai nari al etzur yishenu nekad mafana b'todah Bizmirot nari alo nekad mafana b'todah Bizmirot nari alo. Different tune. Kiel gadol Adonai umelech gadol al kol Elohim asher beyado melkarei haaretz v'toafot tarim lo asher beyado melkarei haaretz v'toafot tarim lo asher lo hayam v'lo asahu b'beshet. Page 12 by the arrow. Arba'im shana kut b'dor ba'omar am to'e lebavhem v'hem lo yadid rachai asher nishpati v'apihi im yavon el menuchati. Page 14, we join together Yismechu Hashamayim. There's a reason we're going to sing this one specifically, even though we do it most Friday nights, but there's a tie to our parsha today, actually. So page 14. Yismechu hashamayim, hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, v'tagel haaretz. Yihiram hayam, Yihiram hayam, Yihiram hayam, umelo, Yihiram hayam, Yihiram hayam, Yihiram hayam, umelo. Let's turn over to page 19 at the bottom. Let's join together, as we always do, this lovely selection reminding us of the purpose of Shabbat. And again, we'll talk about Shabbat in just a second, a little bit more. Bottom of 19 on the far left. Blessed is your coming, Shabbat. Blessed is your coming. Bring with you rest and peace, following a tumultuous week filled with so many demands. Bring the space in which, with others and alone, we can shape an infinity of dreams. Bring the hour of forgiveness in which to hear the pounding heart of another human being. Blessed is your coming, Shabbat. Blessed is your Creator. Blessed is your light. On page 20, we join together by the arrow. Romimu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romimu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romimu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romimu. Romimu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romimu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Page 21, we rise as we join together 29th Psalm, listening for God's voice in the world around us. 21. Mizmor leDavid, havu l'Adonai b'nei Elim, havu l'Adonai kavod va'os, havu l'Adonai kevod shemo. Yishtachavu l'Adonai behadrat kodesh, kol Adonai al hamayim, el hakavod hirim, Adonai al mayim rabim, kol Adonai bakoach, Kol Adonai behadar, Kol Adonai shover arazim, Vayishaber Adonai et arze halavanon, Vayarkidem kemo egel, Levanon desiryon, Kemoven re'emim. Kol Adonai chotzef lavotesh, Kol Adonai yachil midbar, Yachil Adonai midbar kadesh, Kol Adonai yecholel ayalot, Vayechesof ye'arot, Uve'echalo kulo omer kavod. Adonai lamalbu yashav, Vayeshev Adonai melech leolam, Adonai os le'amo yitain, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom. You're welcome to be seated. Page 23, you'll find L'chadodi. We'll do the first two. We'll stick with tradition, do the middle one on 424 and the last two on 25, as we always do. So we'll join together. 23. Lecha dodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmianu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'shem u'tiferet v'litila. Lecha, lecha, dodi, dodi, lecha, dodi, likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha, dodi, likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechuven elcha, Ki mekor habaracha, mehirosh mikedem nesucha, Sof maaseh b'machshavat chila. Lecha dodi, dodi, lecha dodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nekabela. 24 in the middle. Hitoreri, Kiva orech kumi ori, uri, shirda beri, Kevod Adonai alayich nigla. Lecha dodi, dodi, lecha dodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nekabela. 25. Yaminu semol tifrotzi, V'et Adonai ta'aritzi, Al yad ish ben partzi, V'nismecha v'nagila. Lecha dodi, dodi, lecha dodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, Gam b'simcha u'v'tzahala, Toch emunei am segula, Boi chala, boi chala. Lecha, lecha, dodi, dodi, lecha, dodi, likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha, dodi, likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nekabela. You are welcome to be seated. Page 27, you'll find the Psalm for Shabbat as we join together. Mizmor shir leyom hashabbat, Tov lehodod la'Adonai, Ulezamer l'shimcha elyon, Ulezamer l'shimcha elyon. Lehagid baboker chastecha, Ve'emunatcha balelot, Alei asor v'alei navel, Alei higayon bechinor. Mizmor shir leyom hashabbat, Tov lehodot la'Adonai, Ulezamer l'shimcha elyon, Ulezamer l'shimcha elyon. Ki simach tani Adonai b'falach hamaseh yadecha re'ema k'naseh. By the arrow on 28. Tzadika tamar yifrach, Ke'erez ba'levanon yiskeh, Shetu Olim beveit Adonai bechatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu od yenuvun b'seva deshenim verananim yiyu lehagid ki ashar Adonai tzuri velo havlatavo. Page 29. Adonai malaki ud lavesh Adonai ositazar aftikon tevel baltimon. Edo techanemnu me'od haveitcha na'ava kodesh Adonai liorech yamim. Page 30, you will find Kaddish Yatom, our Mourner's Kaddish. We don't quite have a minyan, but we can recite the last two lines of the Mourner's Kaddish together. Last two verses, actually. Page 30. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'yalkol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom yimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'yalkol Yisrael v'imru amen. All right, since Mindy's here, it's almost her birthday, I have to do a story. So I'm prepared with a variety of different things. This is not the most exciting story, though, but it has a point. So I'm going to switch from one thing that I was going to do to the other thing, because Mindy's here and she deserves a story for birthday and Mother's Day. So this Shabbat, just so you know what we're talking about, we study the combined Torah portions of Bahar B'chukotai, and this is the parsha in particular of Bahar, introduces the rules surrounding the sabbatical year, right? So the what we call the Yovel. Well, first off, the sabbatical year being the 7th year, right? Every 7 years, what are we supposed to do? We let the land lie fallow, right? Doesn't mean we can't use it. We just don't plant it. So whatever has come back up, it's like trimming your tree on 1 year, and then the next year you get all these apples, right? You can eat those apples. You just don't cultivate new ones, right? You don't work to fertilize and hoe and till and do all that stuff. So that was the idea of the Shemitah year. And what did it do? It allowed a Sabbath, the 7th day, right? Allowed a Sabbath each 7 years for the land. After that, much like we do the Omer, we have what was called the Yovel, or the Jubilee year, right? And Jubilee was the 50th, much like Shavuot is our 50th day of our Omer counting, right? So this is the 49 years, so it's a 7 times 7 thing, right? It's 7 years times 7, or 7 cycles times the 7 years. So it's 50th year. In the 50th year, that's when the land was to revert back to original owners. Debts were to be repaid, and of course it was a Shemitah year. It was the same kind of thing. It was we let the land lie fallow. But it was seen as a Shabbat for the land in particular. And the reason I mentioned the psalm of Yismechu Hashamayim, the Yismechu Hashamayim, the psalm talks about may the heavens and the earth rejoice. It personifies the heavens and the earth. And us doing it on Shabbat is, hey, the heavens and the earth rejoice in Shabbat as well. So here we have in our text where we are taught about the Shabbat, and it is done with the same language as our psalm. In the Torah, it's done the same way. It speaks as though the land is a person, right? So it says specifically, V'shavta ha'aretz, the land is to be given a Shabbat, right? And the language continues. It makes it sound like, hey, like you take a Shabbat, I'll take a Shabbat, the land gets a Shabbat, right? It's very cool. So it reminds us that Shabbat is an important piece. So that was one really important thing I think we can get from the Torah reading. Another very curious thing that comes in the very opening of the portion itself, and it begins with the instructions regarding the Sabbath, the Shabbat for the land, and it begins with Vayidaber Adonai el Moshe Bahar Sinai Lemor. We are used to hearing Vayidaber Adonai el Moshe Lemor, right? And God spoke to Moses saying whatever God's going to say, right? This time there's a Bahar Sinai. There is the mountain of Sinai. What's Sinai?
Sinai. It's Sinai, right? No, yes. It's Sinai. So it specifically says God spoke to Moses on Mount Sinai, saying, give the land a Shabbat. So, of course, the textual commentators come up. Rashi in particular says, why does it say specifically about this rule that it came from Sinai? Because, again, we have tons of rules that never, once we were at Sinai and the Ten Commandments, great. But after that, it just says, and God spoke to Moses saying the following, teach the people this, right? All of a sudden we have, Mount Sinai's referred back to again. And so it's odd. It stands out from all the other kind of mitzvot that we've been reading. It doesn't have Sinai in here, but it does here. So the rabbis, of course, ask, seems logical, that we know the revelation at Sinai happened. We know all the other rules don't mention Sinai. Why this is so specific about this mitzvah? And there's a wonderful understanding that the rabbis want to point out a simple fact that the mitzvah is a very difficult one for people to fulfill. Why is that? First off, no one wants to release hold of their land in particular, right? Part of the Yovel, part of the 50th, the Jubilee, was to hand back the land to the original owner so that we could go back to a sense of equity. And that certainly isn't something people want to do. People had to release their servants. They had to, if they were indentured servants, they were released on that, no matter what, whether they owed you still, and these are indentured servants, people paying off a debt. It's not slavery. But this was, okay, well, we don't want to do that either. So by reminding us that this is from Sinai, we understand the mitzvah, you shall give the land a Shabbat, a Sabbath, is every bit as important as observing the Shabbat that we observe, that we found in the big 10 Commandments, right? Zachor, right? Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Well, don't forget that it's not just you, it's the entire land. And with all of that is how we treat those who are with us, those who help us cultivate the land. So don't think these sabbatical laws, don't apply. They hold a lot of weight. In fact, how much weight do they hold? Think of them as though they too, just like all the other rules, came from Sinai. Wonderful other midrash, and here's where the story comes in. Wonderful midrash that says, why Sinai? Why is that so important? Anybody want to know why Sinai was so important? There's a lot. Have you been to Israel? How many mountains are around in the south? Tons, right? Lots of different mountains. So the midrash asks, why Sinai in particular? What's so special about that? So here's the story for you. I'll try to make it quick. All of creation heard the news, the birds, the wind, the rivers, and the mountains, that soon God was going to give the gift of the 10 Commandments, including this one, right? But all of the mitzvot, right? To Moses on top of the mountain. But no one knew which mountain it would be. And every mountain, of course, wished to be chosen. Every mountain had good reasons. God should definitely choose me. As Mount Tabor spoke, its sides shuddered and quaked, waking up the night animals and shaking leaves off the bushes. I'm the highest mountain, and when God sent the great flood, it was the only mountain that was not covered by water. Noah and his ark rested on me while waiting for the rains to end and the waters to recede. That's Mount Tabor, right? Tabor, as they say in English. That may be so, but Mount Carmel said, if it were not for me, the Israelites would not have even crossed the Red Sea. The Egyptians were behind them. The sea was in front of them. They would have been caught and enslaved again in the land of Egypt. Mount Carmel puffed up its sides, causing the snakes and the lizards and the deer and the wild goats to go rolling. Well, not to be outdone, Mount Zion, right, which joined in the quarrel, and so did Mount Hermon. You know where Mount Hermon is? If you want to go skiing in Israel, that's where you go, way up in the north. We're not worrying about where geography is, right? These mountains are all around. Way up in the north, that's Mount Hermon. And that's where, if you look out, you can see it's like one of the only places you'll find snow up on top of the mountains from there. Yeah, you can find it. People go, that's where they go for wintering there, right? So Mount Hermon said, hey, wait a minute, don't forget me. And each mountain's argument sounded strong and quite just. But there was one little mountain that remained quiet, Mount Sinai. Why should God choose me, Mount Sinai thought? I am the smallest of the mountains, and I have never done anything great at all. The argument, of course, continued far into the night. No animal found any rest, no bird a quiet spot. Even the trees and the flowers became annoyed with all the fighting back and forth. It should be me. No, I deserve it. If it weren't for, no, I'll be the chosen one. Now, who's going to intervene? God, of course. Suddenly, a voice comes from nowhere, yet from everywhere, and silenced the mountains. Enough boasting, said God. I have made my decision. The mountains became quiet. All listened eagerly. The birds, the animals, the trees, the flowers. Which mountain would God choose for the great gift? Would it be Tabor? Would it be Mount Carmel? Would it be Zion? Or would it be Mount Hermon? It will be on the smallest and most humblest of mountains that I will give my gift, God continued, on one little Mount Sinai. The four mountains, of course, gasped and moaned, at least as well as such great masses of rock and soil can gasp and moan. I never expected. Well, who would have thought? Well, why should such a... But the animals and the birds filled the air with happy twittering because they were so tired of the roaring and the quaking and the boasting, and little Mount Sinai glowed from top to bottom. It's a fun little story. It's definitely a fun story if you are the smallest and quietest in the room, to know that once in a while you are heard, even through the silence. It's a wonderful midrash, and it gives us that insight. It's the rabbis suggesting why, of all the mountains, it was this lowly mountain. It was not a big boasting mountain. It was not one that had much to do with the Israelites prior. But Sinai was understood again to be the smallest in the area. And yet what happened there? Rules, values, ethics, those were all shared there. And that event changed the world. Not just us as human beings, and as Jews. It didn't just make us a nation, which it did, but it changed the world, giving all of us a universal vision of social justice, of an understanding of how humans are to engage with one another and with God, and then values which really, if you think about it, revolutionized the ancient world, like give the land a chance to breathe every 7 years, or make sure that those who are indentured to you, who owe you, that you are at least, paying attention to their needs and giving back to them. All kinds of rules like that, of course. So we are small as Jews, just as Mount Sinai was the smallest among the towering peaks. We know, however, our impact in the world remains beyond measure. So think about that story. It's a really nice little one. We often study it when we're talking about the Ten Commandments. But it seemed perfect for today, given that we study the mitzvah that was specifically mentioned to be given at Mount Sinai, so that we remind ourselves of how important all of our mitzvot are, and how important it is to give ourselves a Shabbat. If it's important for the land, all the more so it's important for us. So I'm preaching to the choir because you all are here. But when you think about Shabbat, and when you hear the liturgy that the heavens and the earth rejoice, think about this idea of certainly Mount Sinai and all the other mountains, but more importantly of how we globally think about resting from creation. It's not just about what we do, it's really about who we are and how we engage in the natural world as well as our physical world. Were you going to say something? Yeah. Uh-oh. Wow, very nice. Well, that fits because your birthday, see? I'm sure you don't. Well, now you know a whole story you could tell anyone you wanted to know. I think you should. Next year, you want to deliver it next year? Well, why not? That would have been fun. Anyway, I know, I'm sure it was good. I'm sure the rabbi helped, right? Or mom or dad. To be honest with you, it's a wonderful parsha, and it gets lost often because it's combined with the second one, Bechukotai, as it is. Every more often than not, it's combined with the one that comes after, which finishes the book of Vayikra, of Leviticus. And so when we read triennial, and depending on how it goes, we rarely do actually read it by itself. Tomorrow, we are in the first reading of the triennial, right? We're in the first shlish, the first 1/3. And although it's combined, we're going to read Bahar. So we are actually going to read all of what I just talked about, the sabbatical and the Yovel, the idea of the Jubilee, and what all that is about. So it's a beautiful parsha. And Bechukotai, in contrast, there's a section called the reproof, the Tochacha, and it's a a long list of if you don't, this is what's going to happen. And yes, that we remember that and we focus on that. I love Bahar for the opposite reason, because it pulls us to the positive and it reminds us of values we might not really think about. So think about that as you go through your Shabbat. And we could have talked about Mother's Day too, so wishing everybody a happy Mother's Day. But we could have talked about the commandment to honor our parents, which is certainly an important one that we want to think about on Sunday. But think about the message from this parsha. It's really very beautiful. And that story is just kind of fun. So, all right, with that, we're going to stay seated because we don't quite have our minyan. But 39a, you'll find the bracha of creation appropriately, right? Of the understanding of the creation in the world as being a part of what we do and who we are. So page 39a, let's read in the English, the bottom half of the page on the left side. Baruch atah Adonai, our God, sovereign of time and space, whose word brings the evening dusk, whose wisdom opens the gates of dawn, whose understanding changes the day's division, whose will sets the succession of seasons and arranges the stars in their places in the sky, who creates day and night, who rolls light before darkness and darkness from light, who makes day pass into night, who distinguishes day from night. Adonai Tsevaot is your name, living and ever-present God. May your rule be with us forever and ever. Baruch atah Adonai, who brings each evening's dusk. We turn over to page 40 as we join together. Ahavat olam beit Yisrael amcha Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim otanu limadeta al kein Adonai Eloheinu v'shachveinu u'v'kumeinu nasiach b'chukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha u'v'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki heim chayenu v'orech yameinu uvahem nehege yomam v'layla v'ahavatcha al tasir mimenu le'olamim baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael melech ne'eman Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'otecha ve'hayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'derech uvshochbecha uvkumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein eitnecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha. We read in the English, you shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all that is yours. These words that I command you this day shall be taken to heart. Teach them again and again to your children. Speak of them when you sit in your home, when you walk on your way, when you lie down, and when you rise up. Bind them as a sign upon your hand and as a symbol above your eyes. Inscribe them upon the doorposts of your home and on your gates. We turn over to 44. We join together, bringing back, remembering the Exodus from Egypt prior to Mount Sinai, the words that we sang together as we crossed the Red Sea, 44. U'malchuto beratzon kiblu aleihem Moshe u'Miriam u'vnei Yisrael echanu shira B'simcha rabba v'yamru chulam. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Nohorati lo nosefele. Malchutecha ra'uvanecha bokayam lifnei Moshe ze'elianu v'yamru Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed v'ne'emar kifad Adonai et Yaakov u'galo miyad chazak mimenu Baruch atah Adonai Gal Yisrael. Page 45. As always, you'll find our Hashkibenu prayer, a prayer for peace as we begin, as we end our day and begin a new one together. Let's read on the left side of the page in the English. Allow us, Adonai, our God, to sleep peacefully. Awaken us to life, O Sovereign. Spread over us your canopy of peace. Restore us with your good counsel and save us for the sake of your name. Shield us. Remove from us enemies, pestilence, sword, starvation, and sorrow. Remove the evil forces that surround us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings. For you, God, watch over and deliver us. And you, God, are sovereign, merciful, and compassionate. Ensure our going and coming for life and peace, now and forever. May you spread over us your canopy of peace. Baruch atah Adonai, who spreads the canopy of peace over us, over all the people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Ushmor tzeitenu vo'enu l'chaim u'l'shalom e'atav yad olam ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim. Page 46, we rise as we join together in Vishamru, again reminding ourselves of the covenant we share with God through the observance of Shabbat. 46. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam oti le'olam oti le'olam Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim v'et ha'aretz v'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam Uvayom hashvi Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat vayinafash Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. We remain standing and turn over to page 47 where you will find the silent Amidah. As always, feel free to add your own personal words to the words you find on the page, and when you're through, you're welcome to be seated. Page 47 through 52. line together as we sing. Oh, se shalom bimromav, huya se shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru, amen. Yahase shalom, Yahase shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, Yahase shalom, Yahase shalom, shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. Yahase shalom, Yahase shalom, shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. Yahase shalom, Yahase shalom, shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. V'yomru amen. We turn back in our Siddur to page 173, where you'll find our Mishaberach for healing, as always, for our those who are ill, those who are in need of spiritual or physical or emotional healing, healing for our world as well. As always, if you have a name to add, we'll go around in just a moment. But this evening, as we sing our Mishaberach, we keep in our thoughts out Hanan HaKohen ben Sima, Michal bat Devorah, Shulamit bat Gittel, Yitzchak ben Gittel, Mer ben Shaul, Yisraela bat Tzipora, Devorah bat Avraham Vasara, Elizabeth Alfieri, Victor Alfieri, Alan Berghauser, Bonnie Carlton, Natalie Kogan, Megan Contigno, Michelle Kramer, Barbara Feingold, Bruce Fine, Gittel Glasser, Suzanne Gott, Francis Haber, Nadine Hyman, Peter Jacobson, Michael Jacobson, Joan Klepp, Mike Kadadich, Michael Kraus, Tom LeBlanc, Hannah Lippman, Joel Lowenstern, Rivka Markowitz, Marjorie Morstein, Susan Aller, Jana Prince, Bernie Rowe, Devorah Rubenstein, Genevieve Sanders, Harriet Siegel, Jerry Vittner, Esther Wiener, Mary Beth White, and any names we add at this moment. Keep all of them in our thoughts. Page 173, the far left side of the page. Mishe be'erach avotenu mekor haberacha le'imotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishe be'erach imotenu mekor habaracha li'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Refuah shlema to all in need. We turn back in our Siddur to page 63 before we go into Aleinu. As we are in the period of counting the Omer, another 7 times 7, right? 7 days of the week times 7 weeks that we count of the Omer. And on our 50th day is Shavuot, our celebration of Torah and of Mount Sinai, the Revelation. We turn back to 63 and I'll ask if you're able to rise. We'll join together in the English and the Hebrew, the blessing in Hebrew. And then if you will look forward to page 69, you want to put your hands there. The second line down, we are counting the new day as we count again the Omer together. So page 63. I am about to fulfill the mitzvah of counting the Omer as it is written in the Torah. You shall count from the eve of the second day of Pesach, when an omer of grain is to be brought as an offering, 7 complete weeks. The day after the 7th week of your counting will make 50 days. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav vitzivanu Al Sfirat HaOmer. If you'll turn over to page 69, and the second line down, we read together in the Hebrew and English, Hayom Shiva Ushloshim Yom Shehem Chamisha Shavuot Ushnei Yamim La Omer. Today marks the 37th day in the counting of the Omer. That's exactly 5 weeks and 2 days in the Omer. And as we pause to count the days, please make sure to make each day of life that you have to count as well. With that, we're going to remain standing as we turn forward, actually backwards to page 56, where you will find Aleinu. We don't probably need to open up the ark. If you want to open up the ark, we can, but we don't have to, but we can. I don't care. It's okay. We can do it. Come on up. Why should we break it when we don't? Some might say we don't open it, but you can certainly open it. We're not doing anything with it, even without a minion, but we can open it. That's the custom here. We open it for Aleinu. We'll open it now. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol latet gedula liotzer breshit shelo asanu kagoyeh haratzot velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adam shelo sam chelkenu kahem v'gahar aleinu kechol hamonam v'anachnu korim ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל ושכינתו זו בגבהי מרומים הוא אלוהינו אין עוד Emet Malkeinu Efesulato Kakatu Bitorato Viadatayom Vahashevota Elevavecha Ki Adonai Hu HaElohim Bashamayim Mima'al V'Aretz Mitachat Einod כי המלכות שלך היא עלמא תמלוך בכבוד, ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד, ושמו אחד. You are welcome to be seated. Thank you very much, as always. We turn to page 58, and again, as we don't quite have a minion, we certainly can do the last 2 lines of the Mourner's Kaddish. And as we do them, we certainly keep in our thoughts those whose yortzites occur today in the week that is coming. Herbert Meyerowitz, Lowell Jerome Kremer, Edwin Eisman, Hyman Fishman, Philip Goldstein, Anna Lurie, Fanny Pollock, George Hundley, Helen Reiter, Julius Reiter, Rebecca Weinstein, Rose Gudov, Jack Bloom, Martyrs of the Ghetto, Ruth Chambers, Sarah Silver, David Albaldas, Joseph Lender, Louis Glick, Ralph Sarlin, Bobby Arkin, Belisa Piha, Marcia Katz, and Jim Rakis. Those reciting, if you are, you'll find it the last 2 lines on page 58. Yehe Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya V'chayim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom Bimromav Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. All right, I'm just going to do these if you don't mind.
We thank Harold for being Bema Buddy, because I know Dan's going to be tomorrow because we have a lot going on. We thank the congregation for our Kiddush. Tomorrow we are going to do a religious school Shabbat. They're going to help lead parts of the service. I hear there's a birthday cake involved as well. So we will have a little fun with some mac and cheese and birthday cake and other fun things tomorrow. So we are happy to sponsor that tomorrow, Jeffrey and I. And the first announcement is happy birthday to me. Okay. Can we sing happy birthday to you too? It is today. You're right. Can we sing happy birthday to you too? I know, but I can get you again. I don't like to sing by myself. It's like eating by yourself or drinking by yourself. Okay. Well, everyone's going to get one, but you can get one too. So, Yom Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach. Yom Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach. You get a little bit of either the one, that one, or the chocolate, or yeah, there you go. There's a peanut butter in there too. I will. I'll take one. I'll take the peanut butter. Next time, sure. Why not? Can't celebrate too much, right? But happy, in all seriousness, happy birthday to Mindy on Sunday, and a happy Mother's Day to everyone who is celebrating or thinking about their moms this weekend. Tomorrow morning, again, we have our religious school Shabbat. The kids are gonna be here helping along during the parts of the service. If you are, I don't know if I want to come because it'll be nice, it'll be fun. And we'll give support to our kids. They've been working hard, especially on the Torah service. And we also have a couple special presentations to our teachers, to one in particular. So we will have a very festive morning. And again, you get some birthday cake and mac and cheese and tuna. I don't know what else is back there, but will be some good food. There's some big good food. So you got to come. So keep that in mind. If you're into food, you can come, and you're into Israeli food, come Friday, May 15th. We'll have Yom Yerushalayim. We'll talk about what that is. We'll have a very brief service. We'll talk about Yom Yerushalayim. Then we'll have a yummy Israeli menu dinner, Shabbat dinner together. Please register online. This is one of our paid dinners. We don't have that many during the year, but this one is, and there's a cap if there's more than one person coming. But call the office or go online and reserve your spot so we know how much to prepare, how much hummus and pita to buy, and how much to prepare for. So that, the men's club's hosting an outing to see the Greenville Drive. First pitch is at 3:05. This is on May 31st. Follows up with, it says which follows a picnic lunch. So the picnic lunch is first, I think, and then there's that. You can stay tuned on our website, but I can tell you the details. Please come join us. Me and actually Rabbi Rose asked if the temple could join us, so I'm thrilled. We did this last year with them, and they were ready to come on board with us again this year. We're going to celebrate Shavuot Thursday night, the 21st. So it's like we're going to do early. It's around 6:30, 6:45. I forget. I don't have it here. I think it's 6:45. But we'll come together. We're going to talk about Jewish identity, and we're going to do like kind of a workshop type of thing where we're really thinking about it for ourselves, not just as a general discussion, but as something that we can hopefully walk away with thinking about how do you identify Jewishly. And that's kind of a follow-up to what we did last Shavuot with Mike Unger, where he talked about being the only Jew in the room, where you had to think about what your identity was in contrast. Well, now let's really define what being Jewish really means. Not in contrast to others, but for ourselves. So that's kind of where that comes from, and we're going to look at some Shavuot texts. We'll look at the book of Ruth for a little bit, but that'll be the first hour and 10 minutes or so. We'll take a little bit of break in between. There will be cheesecake and drinks, of course, and then we'll do a second study session. Rabbi Rose will lead a brief study session. We may stick another one in there and do half an hour and half an hour. But we'll have time for cheesecake and stuff as well. If you need to go home early, you can do that. So if you don't want to drive late, that's okay too. I don't think that's this crowd, but if anyone's watching from afar, wants to come, but they want to leave, they can leave at any point, certainly before sundown hits at 8:20 by then, 8:30. So you'll be able to get the first session. And then if we have enough, we'll end with a very brief Mariv service to welcome in Shavuot. We'll not have a program on Friday morning. We will have our normal Friday night It's abbreviated for the holiday, but Friday night service. And then Saturday morning, we'll have our normal Saturday service. But for the festival, we'll read the 10 Commandments. We'll be back at Mount Sinai again. So there you go, reading the 10 Commandments, and we'll do Yisker on that Saturday. So that's our Shavuot lineup. Please keep it in mind. You look around, there's a men's club breakfast coming up. There's a sisterhood meeting coming up in June. There's a Habitat for Humanity project coming up in July 17th. So keep that on your brains. And the rest of them looking here, there's school, of course, as usual. Not this Sunday, but the following Sunday, we have our last session on Wednesday night of religious school on the 17th. It's actually on the 13th, rather, and then the 17th is the last Sunday. No class on this Sunday. No class for me, no God talk. Hopefully you all are enjoying a Mother's Day off, and then Fred Leffert will have his usual Zoom on Tuesdays. So if you see Ken Pittman, wish him a happy birthday. I didn't know if he'd be here tonight, but he was celebrated his birthday yesterday. Mindy, of course, on Sunday. Matthew Unger is celebrating all the way in, yeah, the day after you, and he's in France, right? Yes, poor Matthew's in France, so we wish him a very happy birthday from afar. And if you see Marco Newman running around tomorrow, his birthday's the 13th. So we will get him midweek during religious school. We'll make sure he gets some special kudos for his birthday. So please reach out to all of them. Those are our birthday buddies. I don't think anybody had a anniversary. Yeah, generally you're not in the Omer, but sometimes people do. So with that, we are going to end so we can go in the back and eat an awful lot of food to eat. So whatever you don't eat, come back tomorrow, we'll eat more of it. So, all right, thanks for being here for everybody. But we'll end with a little bim bam bim 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 bam bim 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 bam bim bam bim bam bim bam bim 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 bam bim 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 bam. Shabbat shalom, hey Shabbat shalom, hey Shabbat 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 shalom. Shabbat shalom, hey Shabbat shalom, hey Shabbat 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 shalom. Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat shalom, hey Shabbat shalom, hey Shabbat 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 shalom. Shabbat shalom. We'll head into the back as we can. The lady in finished, follow the lady in polka dots. Okay. Is this working too? Testing. Yes, it is working. Okay. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Okay, it works.
I won't be here next Friday night. I'll be on an airplane coming home from Honolulu.
Oh, tough, rough life.
It is, okay, so it's like a 14-hour flight there, Monday, three solid days of working, and then coming home.